goddamn winter wonderland out here. Well, maybe not. It's not like there's actually inches of snow, but it's starting to feel like Christmas time. It's starting to freaking feel like Christmas up in here. So for any lifters closer to the south or the west, at least to the states, I mean, whatever. Any lifters in a warm climate, yeah. When you're riding to the gym with your windows down, just cruising, us northeasterners, we're grinding. We're trudging through the snow in our boots, like Dorian Yates to get to the gym. You know, while you guys are just enjoying the heat, we're out here in the mud, the cold. I don't really think about it like that, but that's kind of funny. So, as long as the weather doesn't get so severe that I don't make it to the gym, I kind of could care less. Spring, winter, fall, I guess I do care a little bit. I do like when it's warm, but more so just because I don't like being cold. Gotta get in the car and just go through that 3-minute period of blasting the heat before it actually warms up. Not saying it's like getting in an ice bath, but I'd say they're comparable. Maybe on two very different sides of the spectrum of coldness. But enough random yapping. Plan for back is going to be the same as normal, but I think I want to do a lot of supersets today. Something, I don't know, something's kind of calling out to me that I want to bust out. That I want to bust out, like, you know, pullovers into rows, or maybe like light squeezing rows into pull downs, or maybe I don't know, maybe pullovers into body weight pull ups, just kind of whatever. Just I do always get a good back pump. That's never really been too much of an issue for me, but I will kind of say sometimes, or maybe not sometimes, but doing a lot of supersets, if I were to sit here and do like a set of really heavy seated cable rows and then jump straight into light pull downs, oh my god. If I were to do that, I know for a fact I'd probably get a little bit more pumped than just doing a set of rows and then waiting a few minutes before doing just a dedicated set of pull downs. So that's not like a cut and dry rule, but for whatever reason, I kind of want to have a very, I don't want to say volume based, because I'm still going to do the same kind of like 6-ish sets, as many as I kind of feel I need. But I feel like I've been doing a lot of straight sets. I kind of want to change it up a touch. I used to almost make every set, well, I used to make every set a drop set. So no matter what I was doing, like my workout would look pretty much the same as it does now. Fuck. I just woke up from a nap before I took the pre, but my workout would look pretty much the same as it does now. But instead of just doing a normal set and like, let's say you reach failure plus partials at like, 12 reps or 15 reps. Then instead of just racking it and, taking a rest, I would just drop the weight by half and burn out with another 10 or 15. And I did that for a long time when I was starting out. That was probably like the majority of my second year of training style. Because in my mind, I always thought, sure, I just did a good set. Let's just take curls for example. I just did a pretty good set of curls. Let's say I was curling like the 40s at the time, and I could do 12 reps, moderate, well, not even moderate, just 12 clean reps to failure, right? In my mind, I'm thinking, I've still got more left in the tank. Sure, I can't curl the 40s anymore, but if I grab the 25s, I can do another 10 reps, I maybe phased out of that mentality, because then, where's the limit, Like, okay, sure, I can't do the 25s anymore, but now I can do the 15s. Okay, now I can do the 10s. Now I can do the 5s. Okay, now I can just do some body weight curls and just curl nothing. So I'm not necessarily sure that's kind of the answer. So as of late, I've been kind of sticking towards just doing a normal straight set. And I feel like hitting your maximum effort, your maximum intensity, aka basically failure, with a specific weight, and then that's your set. I think that's a good way to go about it. But again, in the spirit of kind of changing things up and making sure the training doesn't get stale. And maybe not just the training, but the stimulus for whatever I'm hitting. I want to add some different styles every so often. Sometimes have workouts that look completely different than even the workout that I just did the last back day. So not only for the potential muscular benefits of doing different workouts to stimulate my back in different ways and maybe induce some more growth, but it's also just fun. If you've lifted for long enough and you've watched enough TikTok videos and workout clips, honestly just watching people's workout videos, if you're into lifting, even if you just talk about lifting around your phone, it's going to pick up. That's what you're into. It's going to show you these videos. Just by kind of being exposed to that for long enough, you should get enough of what I'd almost want to call like your exercise slash training vocabulary, or I don't want to say appendix, but whatever. You should know a lot of different exercises and styles and drop sets and supersets and stuff like that. So once you know them, you just try them out in all sorts of different combinations. I'm sure that if every time I came into the gym, I did the exact same back workout and the exact same chest day, the same leg day, the exact same arm day, if I did them the exact same, I'd probably get tired of it. I think I'd probably still do it if I thought that was the best method, because I'm an obsessed freak. But it is way more fun to change it up. I think that people who are often kind of maybe plagued by the boredom of repeating the same workout split over and over, I think that they just need to kind of change their workouts up a little more. If you have a good variety of chest days, or maybe you insert any lift, then I don't really see how you could get tired of your workout split. The order in which you hit muscles, it's kind of arbitrary. It'll only feel repetitive if every lift is the same. So if you've got different lifts and you change it up, you're not going to get tired, and you can just stick to the same split for however long you freaking want. So I think if you kind of have a stale routine, and maybe this is up to you to reflect upon and think, yeah, I guess I have been doing the same stuff every time, then it would make sense that you would be like, oh, I'm so tired of push-pull legs. Now I want to try the Arnold split. I want to try a full bodies. That's kind of what I think about there. But just at a glance into the window, this place looks pretty freaking dead. 7 o'clock Monday night, plus it's cold. I'm sure people want to be nice and cozy at home. Wrong! Come on, get real. Get freaking real. If you're watching this and yesterday you took off because you were kind of chilly, dude, what? Oh, geez, man. We're going to have a serious discussion after class. All right? Just hang back while everyone else leaves. We get warmed up and get in there. See what that first working set ends up being. So this is not from experience. I did not just bust my ass out there. But if you're leaving the gym on a cold and snowy night, fucking implement some caution, man. I mean, we're tough. The human body can handle a lot of stuff. But, if you're above, any weight, but let's say you're approaching a 250-pounder, such as myself. If I were to slip and fall and my whole body weight were to land backwards on my arm trying to catch myself, guess what? My elbow would be given a trip to Snap City immediately. Freaking immediately. So, if your feet aren't firmly planted on the ground, watching your step, you could get totally wrecked. And that would throw off a whole little winter season of bulking, assuming that's your primary directive right now, which honestly, no reason not to. I think it gets a little bit, well, it makes sense. People talk about bulking over the wintertime. You don't really have to be lean. You don't have to show off because obviously everybody's covered up in warm clothes. Not that we really have to deal with survival, but I guess if you're bulked up in the wintertime, that would just make sense, if you got to survive on low rations. Maybe if you're a primal, if you're following the primal tenets, then you got to worry about that. But everybody else, we got the grocery store. I think we're okay. But it makes sense. Bulk in the wintertime, get soft when nobody's going to be looking at you, and then cut during the summertime, right? You want to be lean out on the pool, at the beach, show off a pair of six-pack abs. Whoa! I don't know. Which, it makes sense. All well and good. But I think that kind of messes with people's heads because during those sort of, I don't want to, what's the word I'm trying to think of? During those transitional periods of the seasons where, let's say it's springtime or maybe it's like end of summer, right? The maybe perhaps non-dedicated lifter who can't really pull the trigger on a bulk or a cut and stick to it, he's kind of stuck in limbo because he's like, oh crap, well, it's going to be summertime in like 3 months. I don't want to start a bulk now because then I'm going to be kind of softer later. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, I guess I could start a cut, but it's already like end of July. It's about to be fall soon. I think I'll... And then guess what? They're the same weight forever. They are the same freaking weight forever. Now, this only goes for a bulking and cutting style, which I do like. I think if you do a legit bulk, then you will pack on some legit tissue over that period. You'll get a little bit softer too, but that's just the nature of the beast. And then you do maybe a 2-month cut, right? You actually drop your calories for a little bit and kind of burn off some of that excess body fat. And at the end of that little loop, as long as you've been training actually hard and eating your protein, I can say you have a high probability, very high probability, of having more muscle at the end of it than you did at the beginning. Now, are you going to have more muscle than if you were to have main gained for that period of time? So let's say you do a 4-month bulk and a 2-month cut. Would you have gained more muscle if you just ate your protein and ate in a slight surplus for that whole period of time? I couldn't tell you. That's sort of something where I think you got to try it out for yourself. I main gained for a long time, and now I've been bulking for a while too. Even though those two situations they're not exactly comparable, and I think you know the reason why. But I still like fundamentally the idea of bulking. I think back if in high school and my freshman year of college when I was doing diving, if instead of main gaining, I had done bulks and cuts, I think I'd be a comparable size. If not, honestly, I think I'd be a bit bigger. I do seriously think that I'd probably be bigger over those 3 years of basically main gaining if I had done dedicated bulks and cuts. Now, the primary word there isn't bulk and cut, it's dedicated. I'm not talking about just like a little bulk and maybe I get like a little bit softer, maybe I gain like 5 pounds over a couple of months and then I cut down. I'm talking like legit actually getting to a point where my body is a very different composition at the end of the bulk, so that there's actually a reason to diet down to reset my system to do it again. I think a lot of people say they're bulking and a lot of people say they might be cutting, but really they're just kind of in a state of maintenance. I'm not trying to say main gaining's bad. I think if you go from a total schmo, and by schmo I just mean non-lifter, I feel like schmo is my equivalent of I'm just talking about gen pop, the uninitiated. But let's say you've gone from no lifting at all to maybe not even having a crazy routine, but just going into the gym 4 or 5 times a week on a consistent basis, plus hitting your protein goals. After 6 months of that, man, considering the fact that you're very susceptible to gains in the beginning, you're very prone to stimulation because you've never lifted weights before, you can make some solid gains. But at a point, you're kind of going to reach that limit of newbie gains in a way, and you've got to kind of start hitting this shit a little bit more methodically. So if you've been on the cusp of, should I bulk? I don't know, maybe I want to cut down. And then even worse, if instead of not being able to pick one or the other, you have to think to yourself, well, I want to bulk up, but I don't want to lose my abs. I just got them. No. Or, dude, I don't want to cut down. I just hit a new bench PR. If I start dieting, I'm going to lose my strength. You're focusing on the present with that mentality, dude. Come on, you got to have an eye for the future. You got to understand that every time you go into the gym, it's not just, unless you're just trying to maintain your build, which at some point we should all reach that level where you want to go into the gym to maintain what you built. You like where you're at. That is kind of the end goal, I think. I can't really see that for me. That's very far off in the distance beyond the horizon. But eventually, yeah, I want to just maintain my build. So until you're at that level, each time you're going to the gym and every move that you're making, it shouldn't just be one step, right? It should be a setup move. If you're playing chess, you're not just moving your pawn because you think, oh, I think this would go nicely here, right? You're setting yourself up for moves in the future. So, sure, I'm going to get softer on this bulk. I'm going to be less vascular. Honestly, ideally, I'd be completely, all my veins would just be gone, because that would mean I've eaten so much food that I've got enough body fat on my system to kind of show me that I've really bulked hard. And that's not my end goal. My end goal isn't to get big and fluffy. My end goal is to get big and fucking diced like a freak. But you can't just jump straight to that. You can't just jump straight to the end goal. There's steps and ups and downs and peaks and valleys which you've got to go through on the way there. So I think if you're kind of worried about those immediate changes that are going to result from making a move that's actually setting yourself up for success later on, then I don't know what you got to do, man. You just need to have a little bit of a rewiring of your brain to kind of, understand the fact that, sure, there's a cost to bulking up. You're going to get a little bit softer, but there's also a benefit: size and strength. Now, look, I'm here for size, of course. That's priority number one. But it's cool being strong too. It's just badass being being able to exert some serious forces out in the world, Makes you confident. But that's the benefit. And the cost is you got to eat a fuck ton of food and get kind of soft. Similarly, with dieting down, benefit, you look fucking nuts. You're going to see new striations and veins, which you haven't seen before. Or, fuck, man, maybe if you've never really been lean, you get your first glimpse at abs. That is fucking sick. Right? Plus, being a little bit more superficial, when you cut down, your face gets more trim. You look kind of cool. You got like your jawline coming out like you're a looks maxing Muir, right? That's kind of fun. But that's the benefit. But the cost is, oh fuck, I hit my calorie limit for the day. It's only 6 o'clock. Shit. Okay, I just got to drink a ton of diet soda. No more food for me. Fuck. Right? That's the cost. So you got to be able to balance those two things out. And fuck, man, maybe the benefits don't outweigh the cost. And maybe you're like, fuck, man, I don't want to cut down. That's stupid. I like where I'm at now. If that's you, then sure, badass. Who gives a fuck? Do what you want. But for the guy who does want to get bigger over time, I think the cutting and bulking method, of course, within reason, don't get too fat and don't get too lean in the diet, or else you're kind of taking your 2 steps forward. But then if you get too soft, you're going to have a lot of body fat to deal with. Then you're taking a few steps back, setting yourself behind. And if you diet too hard, then you're going to start eating into the muscle that you work so hard to build. And so instead of a reset, right, you're nice and hungry, you're lean, you're ready to start another bulk. If you keep dieting beyond that for no reason, then you're cutting back. Now you're just worse off than when you started. So you do have to do it within reason, and it is something which you are going to benefit from watching some, I literally want to say tutorial videos on how to do. Look up some shit, how to track your macros, different meal plans, and how to bulk and stuff like that. The more of those kind of videos you can watch and kind of understand and internalize, the better off you are going to be. And I can say that with freaking certainty. And it's not just watching these kind of videos and whatever else. You got to watch them, but also be able to apply the shit that the big ass old lifter dude or whatever, the guy making the video is talking about. You got to be able to apply it, see if it works, and then when it does work for you, or if you can set up a system or whatever else and have it work, then, badass. Even better, sprinkle on top. Look up some Machiavelli motivational videos of like Dorian Yates, Tom Platz, shit like that. Way before my time, but get some Greg Plitt videos on your feed. Every time you see some shit like that, give it a save it so you see it more often. You combine a ton of food, hard training with those kind of videos and that kind of mentality, you're taking a turn onto a one-way street to Freaksville, and there is no speed limit. Like the fucking, I forget, you know what I'm talking about. So, get yourself on track, go hard. I'm going home to eat and probably take a nap. I've been sleeping all day. It is I'm in heaven. So I'll fucking see you next time.